What's going on, babe?
Hey babe, how was your day?
It was actually pretty productive. Happy to be home.
Good. You know we got a game today. Honey, you're a little rough around the edges.
I'm saying I've been working all night, taking care of business, getting to the. You know what? I don't even want to talk about it. I got you. I'm not trying to be out here looking like a dusty, and that's why I'm excited to have T. Chanley as a sponsor of today's video. They help me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which come with all of the basics: a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My favorite part about Teach Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teach Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price and the ability to customize your box. And because Teach Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description. You'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Click the link and get started today. We're taking care of ourselves. Self-care, fellas, is the first step to be able to get to that bag, to take care of business, and be on top of things and level up in every aspect of your life. Feel the Teach, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. It's a little dark over there. Welcome to the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. Hey, honey, can you grab my gold Rolex from up there? What's going on, family? What's happening? Shout out to Tej Hanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. 30% off your first order. Plus, you could just hand it to me. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Make sure you tap into that Tej pack. I'm going to do things a little differently today. You know I like to do things different. So I'm doing a little bit of a test run. And my test run is based off of some incoming equipment that I got. I was studying the greats. I was looking at how they do things. And I said, Anton, you're going to have to step your game up. Because I'm ever evolving. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always changing. I'm always evolving. I'm always trying to be the best version of myself. And so it's important. It's important to grow. And while everybody else is studying everybody else inside of whatever echo chamber everybody else is doing, and you can see the similarities, right? You see people using the same software. You see people moving the same. You see people take different people's talking points. You know? Let me see what's happening in the chat. What's going on, friends? How y'all doing today? You see a lot of different things evolving. I've even seen people try to get a similar background to Anton from AntonDaniels.com. But you know, one thing about innovation is that it doesn't matter how many good ideas people have. Doesn't. Because when you innovate, you're just an innovative person. When you're creative, you continue to create. It's almost like Nike or Yeezy, right? When Yeezy comes out with a sneaker, a shoe, we was doing some shopping yesterday, Rita and I, and we were at Somerset Mall, and we was doing a little bit of shopping. You know, I pulled out about 5 bands, blew the bag a little bit. And I walked into a couple stores, and I seen some very, very high-end designers somewhat steal the silhouette of Yeezy's sandals, right? You know how Yeezy went with the Japanese sandal, and you got to order it a size up in order for your foot not to come out the bag because of the custom. And I can see their designs over, and it influences. And it kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Devil Wears Prada. The Devil Wears Prada is a phenomenal movie. Y'all need to watch The Devil Wears Prada if you have not already. So many lessons. I know these guys, oh, I'm extra masculine, so I don't watch chick flicks. Well, we proved that was wrong last night on Q&A show because everybody that wear dreads ain't masculine. You know what I'm saying? They be out there making sure that neither here nor there. Anyways, but my point is that it's a lot of business lessons. And because when you start to have an eye and look at things a specific type of way, you start to glean different things off of stuff that you watched previously. And it kind of reminds me of the Bible, right? Because the Bible is a book that you can continue to read over and over and over and over again because depending on where you at in your life and how you've matured and how you've evolved and how you see life, you get different things from different lessons at different times, which is why I continue to read it. And I've read it 7 times front to cover, and I continue to read it because I'm always getting something new in a different context depending on where I'm at in my life, which is why the Bible specifically says he gives you teachers and preachers after his own heart, because he knows what you need in order to push you forward. So you're not necessarily in a place to be able to receive the meat. Sometimes you need a little bit of that Similac. You know what I'm saying? And so I was doing some reflecting because I was watching my messages and I was watching everything that I did last week when we did Accountability Week. And I was paying attention to what we did on the 3 shows on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week because we back on Money Week. And I try to switch it up and I put the medicine inside of the candy, but at sometimes I can get a little bit on fire. You know how they say you catch the Holy Spirit? That's how it can be sometimes when you start to get in your zone and then you combine that with passion and then you let God take over. A lot of times what happens is you get in this mode where you just kind of black out and then you got to try to come to your senses. People that's those of you that's familiar or you've been raised in a black church or you ever went to a black church before, even if you wasn't raised in a black church and you went to a black church as a visitor, and then you see people falling out and all of this other kind of junk, and you be like, what the heck is going on over there? They letting the spirit kind of take over them and they can't control themselves, especially new saints. Let me pull back from the spiritual talk because I'm not necessarily talking about spirituality. I'm using that as a reference point in order to illustrate to you guys what I've been experiencing kind of sort of as I've continued to evolve in my message and I become more and more engulfed in what I do for a living because I believe that my ability to transcend what my current environment is and reach people that otherwise would not have been interested in money or spirituality or being successfully married or becoming a better version of themselves is my talent. It's unique. It's one of my gifts, right? And so I've been watching, but I always make sure that I go back and I study myself. I study my diction. I try to improve. I look at my cadence. I try to determine which glasses I'm gonna wear. I got some teaching glasses over there today. I got these right now. You know, different ways in which I can improve to be the best version of me so that I can then impact you differently. And one of the things that I gleaned from yesterday was I found out, or I looked at it and I said, you know what, Anton? It's a lot of bag chasers we got. We got a lot of bag chasers. We got thousands of bag chasers. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. The very next thing that I'm dropping is a live stream, and I'm going to show y'all and I'm going to take y'all through the next steps on building a business. And I said, we got a lot of bag chasers. And because some of y'all have been bag chasers for over a year, you're light years away or light years ahead of other people that may be new to the club. Light years ahead of what some other people are experiencing. So they experiencing and they getting all of this steak and this juicy meat and this, you know what I'm saying? We not overcooking the steak and we getting all of the juices because you're mature, you're older, you know what to taste for. You pass burgers, you pass baby food, and now you're starting to chew on a steak. But we don't want to leave. We don't want to leave our fellow new brethren and bag chasers and ladies. We don't want to leave them behind. We want them eating steak with us, but they trying to chew on steak and they ain't even teething yet. You know what I'm saying? And so I messed up. And so I'm going to have to apologize. I have to apologize to my people because yesterday I was in the spirit, right? And I said, you know what? If you don't like what I'm saying and I'm alienating some people, go over there and go get it from them because this ain't for you. But no, let me recalibrate. because I'm able to hold myself accountable, and I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong. I don't even need other people to do it before I'm doing a self-check. I woke up this morning, I said, oh God, forgive me. I don't want to leave my babies behind. I don't want to leave my homies behind. I want us all to be rich. It ain't just about the people that's been with me for over a year. It ain't just about the people that's been with me over 6 months. It's about everybody. So I said, you know what? We're going to go back to the drawing board. We're going to bring them up to speed while we're also giving my people that stake. But we need to get them together. We need to make sure that we said, don't be a dusty. They said, you know what? We're going to make the informed decision to do things differently because we no longer want to be ignorant. Ignorant meaning they just don't know. And so we got to give them their food at the same time that we eating that steak so that we can get them to where we going so that eventually they hopefully pass us because we want them to be better than us. See, that's the difference between people that chastise you and get on you because they want you to be better and haters. People that give constructive criticism and feedback because they want the best from you. I want you to be better than me because it doesn't hurt me, and then you become a part of my network, and then maybe you can give me some insight and understanding because you're doing it faster than I did it because you're younger than me. That's what the OGs was supposed to be for. The OGs wasn't supposed to hate on the young bulls. The OGs was supposed to pull everybody up and then help them to be better than themselves, understanding that it don't hurt me to help you. That actually helps me. You being a better version of me is the best version of me. And so we got to make sure that we take care of our babies. So I'm going to try to pull back a little bit, right? May not be as popular. Just for the day. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's no fumble on a Friday. It may not be as popular to pull back because I know y'all like it when I get in that zone. I know my people. Y'all like it when I go off. Y'all say, yeah, that fiery brimstone stuff. Y'all like it when I do that. But I said I'm going to pull back a little bit today. I'm going to remix it. I'm going to test some new concepts to see whether or not you guys like it or not. And we going to still get to that bag. So that's my monologue. I'm not going to go crazy immediately. We're going to see how this plays out. Again, shout out to Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Tap in. It's official says stop, drop, shut it down, and hit that like button. Oh, no. That's how the bag chasers roll. Shout out to It's Official. I love you, baby girl. Shout out to all of my New York people. I will be making an announcement. Make sure you join the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I'm going to be making an announcement within the next day or so of exactly when our next Patreon meetup is and where it's going to be. I've narrowed it down to 3 places. It is going to be in the Midwest, and I am going to give my people enough time to be able to connect with me because every city is dope. Houston. We just came from New York, Atlanta. Awesome. DC, phenomenal. Los Angeles, great. Miami, epic. All of these places, every single place that we've been to has been absolutely phenomenal. No problems, no trouble, pure vibes, networking, great talks. Everything is awesome. And I try to fly to my people, so I want them to see me in person, and I want you to connect with me because I'm 10 times doper in person than I am online. Real talk. All right, so let's do what we do. All right, so let's deep dive because the Fed raised rates 75 basis points yesterday, which is 0.75%. So basically 0.75%. And this is the way in which Fed fight inflation. So this is going to be a learning session for today. Make sure you share this with your friends. Make sure you kick it with your people. I had to push it back a little bit because literally at the time that I was about to go live, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to Rita. I said, you know what? I got this crazy idea. Let's test out this concept that we building out right here. Let's just test it out. Let's do a makeshift thing. So we going to kick it, right? But the Fed, right? And if you need to kick it with me personally, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. We're going to get you set up for a personal call, all right? But the Fed raised rates 75 basis points. And the sentiment is that the U.S. economy is shrinking in the second quarter and reviving recession fears. So the question that you have to then ask yourself, oh, Jesus Christ, wrong. The question that you then have to ask yourself is, are we in a recession or aren't we? What's going on, babe? My Porsche ready? You going to get it? We going right after this to go get my Porsche. My Porsche is ready. Bag Chasers is in the building. I'm so ready to go get we going right after this to go get my Porsche. So the U.S. economy is shrinking again. The Fed raised rates yesterday. And for those of you that are new to the session or is restreaming this and is the first time here, welcome. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. I break things down from a C student's perspective. Okay. And so it's reviving recession fears. And we've been hearing this word tossed around a lot. Recession, recession, recession. Versace, Versace, Versace. It sounds like a QC Quavo Cardi B remix. Recession, 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 inflation, inflation, inflation. That's all we've been hearing over the past, I don't know how long. I've been talking about it. I know that a lot of other people been talking about it. You got all of these gurus. They starting to go broke because they didn't truly understand what money is. They're not going broke. They've generated enough revenue to where they can sustain, but their portfolios are tanked. Nothing. Dead. Real talk. Porsche videos coming. Shout out to y'all. But let's talk about it, right? Because they raise rates based off of 75 basis points. I expected them to actually raise rates off of a full percentage point. And what happens when the Fed raises rates? Again, remember, we break this down from a C student's perspective. What happens when they raise rates is it's the main tool that they have in order to fight inflation. So everybody's been crying about inflation. They said, you know what? It's 9.1%. It's 8.6%. 8.1%. It's the highest it's ever been in 40 years. And so I've come to the conclusion that inflation is the recession. Inflation is not one of the things that's contributing to a recession. Inflation in this particular instance, and again, we're going to break this down from a C student's perspective. Get your pen and pad. Make sure that you rewatch this video. Inflation in 2022 is the recession, which is one of the reasons why I've been telling you guys for an extended period of time that the recession for you is already here. How many times have y'all heard me say that? The recession for you is already here. Inflation is the recession, but not for me and not for the bag chasers, because the things that we buy and how it is that we allocate our resources allows for us to beat and even capitalize off of the recession. And we'll go into that in a second, but let's go ahead and get into this. So the economy shrank. U.S. economy shrank again for the second straight quarter at an annual rate of 0.9%. So basically almost a full percentage point. This is the economy, right? Raising concerns the country may be heading into a recession and compounding the Biden administration's political challenges as it grapples with decades high inflation. Now, contrary to popular belief, let me give Biden a little bit of rope. And I know y'all don't like Biden, even though you voted for him, because he got in office somehow. He won a majority of the vote. He won the electoral college. He won all of that. Somebody voted for him. So somebody is in this chat capping, acting like they didn't vote for Biden. Let's be clear. Okay. Let me give him a little bit of rope though, because the pandemic was here before he got in office. Things were trending in a specific way before he got in office. Money been cheap for a long time. Money being cheap contributes to the inflation, because what it does is it increases demand. And when it increases demand, prices raise. When prices raise, the value of money goes down, and also the affordability rate goes lower. Meaning that when you went to buy a house and everybody was bidding $100,000 and $150,000 over asking price, it exponentially raised the price of the house because money was cheap. I'll give you another example. Based off of what rates were less than a year ago, a $1,300 house note now exploded at the same time frame. So let's just say a 30-year mortgage to about $1,700. And that's the point that the Fed is making in order to make sure that they lower inflation. So they're trying to lower the affordability of what you can buy by raising how much money costs. Okay, let me deep dive. They're trying to lower the affordability. So they're artificially manufacturing a recession by reducing inflation, by making the cost of borrowing money more expensive. So when you go and you get a 30-year mortgage, which I advise against, and you go and you use your credit cards and you finance a car and you do all of these different things, what's happening is the Fed is saying it's going to cost you more to be able to do the same things that you were doing yesteryear if you want to borrow money to do it. And what happens is Walmart, Target, every single retailer, they're starting to discount things. The price of gas is going down. It is. Houses are deflating, meaning the prices are going down so that the bubble didn't bust. People were literally buying houses sight unseen and then moving from state to state and then getting into that house and saying, I messed up. The cost of doing business is more expensive, which means that demand wanes. People spend less money, which then makes sure the economy shrinks, which is one of the reasons why we're reading this article right now, because people spend less. They can't afford to do it as much as the people before them. But then the prices come down because people still want to sell their houses. They still got to sell clothes. You still have to have so you want to slowly possibly raise rates so that you can reduce what people's spending in order to ensure that we don't create a bubble and then it pops. So it's working. But what's happening is you're actually experiencing a form of a recession right now because inflation is a recession for you. Let's continue. New figures released Thursday by the Bureau of Economic Analysis come at a tumultuous time for the economy, though economists disagree on the likelihood of a full-fledged slump. In the past 6 months of contraction have usually indicated a recession. That's usually how they define a recession. Multiple quarters in which you have a contraction and what's going on in the economy usually is a clear sign and indication of a recession. In the past 6 months of a contraction usually have indicated a recession. The official determination is made by a separate panel of experts, though recessions aren't typical when unemployment is near record lows. So now let's combine unemployment, because they say unemployment is at a historic low of 3.6%, meaning that everybody is working. Your money just don't go as far. So you got a raise, but because it didn't keep up with the rate of inflation, you feel like even though you're making more money than you ever have before, it's going less. It doesn't go as far. It doesn't go as far. And then this is why I'm breaking down, hey, $40,000 ain't the $40,000 from yesteryear, because every single year, the cost of doing business goes up. Every single year, prices go up. Every single year, rent goes up. Every single year, the price of houses go up. Every single year, the price of gas goes up. Every single year, the price of sneakers goes up. Every single year, demand is greater than it's ever been because people have more buying power, but they don't understand that they're still going broke. And the middle class are the ones that's bearing the brunt of this. So we're going to teach a lesson today. Second quarter slowdown reflected shifting consumer and business behaviors. Retailer bought fewer items. They're buying fewer items because they have less buying power, including cars. As consumers shifted their spending away from goods to services such as restaurants and hotels, decline in home construction and government spending also contributed to negative reading. So let's break this down. Okay? We're going to come back to the front of the congregation. Let's break this down. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to help you out today. I want to bring you along slowly. I want you to understand that you're not in this alone at all. You are not in this alone. The Fed is continuing to raise rates, which they're doing their job. They're actually lowering inflation artificially long term, not currently, because it's going to take some time. So it means that it's going to be some gnashing and gnawing of teeth. It's going to be some suffering. It's going to be some people out here that's not getting to the bag, or if they get into the bag is not going to seem the same as it was. And why? Because you're still broke, because despite the fact that you're making more money than you ever have, inflation is your recession. So we're going to teach today. We're going to teach today. All right. Y'all ready? Are y'all ready to kick it? Rita said, All right, well, let's kick it. So we're gonna pivot a little bit. We're going to pivot. Let me get my markers. We're going to do some work today, okay? We're going to do some work today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me switch my mic real quick. Think you'll be able to hear me better. We're going to go 5. Broke. 5 habits keeping you broke. Okay? Rita, do we got any other colored markers over there? We got some green. I like money. 5 habits keeping you broke. See if you can find some other markers over there. We going back to school, ladies and gentlemen. We're no longer going to stay in this dark space. I'm gonna bring my babies up with me. We're gonna continue to become successful. Okay? I'm going to ensure that you guys have every tool and resource, because everything that I continue to hear, everything I hear on a regular basis is, hey, we're systematically oppressed. We don't have the tools. Hey, Anton, you're going too fast. You're giving it away for free, but I don't understand it. Honey, did you find my stuff? Did you look? All right. So, no, you said we don't have any more? No other colors? We're going to go with black and red. This is fine. This is fine. Number 1, the problem with people and habits that are keeping you broke. I don't like this black one. It's okay. Nope, we good. We good. We gonna rock just like this. Number 1. We gonna do this like how I do a lot of my sessions that I do in person, okay? Waiting to get started. Most people, they wait and they wait. It reminds me of when people come to church, okay? When people go to church, a lot of times what they say is, you know what? We have to wait until we get ourselves together before we come and kick it with the Lord. Well, if that was the case, then you wouldn't need the church in the first place. People wait too long before they get started, and then they don't get anywhere because they're still sitting there waiting to get themselves together, but they don't have the clues. You ain't got the answer, Sway. You have no clue what you're talking about. And if people knew what they was talking about, they would do things a lot differently. Okay? Do not wait to get started. Time is your friend. The earlier that you get started, the more successful you become. It's like throwing a pebble. Remember my pebble theory? But we're gonna reverse it a little bit, right? The pebble theory is that, the pebble theory is that I can throw a pebble into a group and be able to change anybody into what I need them to be. But we're going to reverse that. We're going to take that same pebble and we're going to throw it down a mountain, right? You got this mountain right here. It's got rocks and stones, but it got snow on there too. And when you throw it down there, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and it grows. It continues to grow because it's continuously getting snow on top of it. And then eventually it turns into an avalanche. That pebble, every dollar that you contribute from now, listen, if you are in your early 20s, there is no better step than step 1. Step 1 is to make sure you get started. Get rid of that student debt. Every single time that you get a statement for anything that you're financing, I don't care if it's a credit card, I don't care if it's a student loan, I don't care what it is. You have to tackle it immediately. Stop waiting for somebody to come and save you. Stop waiting for somebody to come and help you. Stop waiting for something or someone to come and rescue you. Okay? That's step 1. You're waiting to get started. The fundamentals, this is baby steps. We're not doing any advanced work today. We're bringing you up to speed because a lot of y'all skip steps and you skip grades anyway. We're not waiting. We're bringing you all the way up to speed, and you can't say anymore that Anton just jumped ahead of us. Now, you have to acknowledge the fact that you have to do the work in order for you to become successful. Okay? Get started. I don't care what don't graduate college. Don't get a job so you can get stuff. Fuck stuff. Stuff does not matter. You have to make sure that you start early enough. And this is why I say all the time, listen, if you wait the first 10 years of your life, and I know that seemed like a long time, but it really isn't, because you're going to blink and you're going to be 30. Some of y'all going to be hitting the wall. Some of y'all going to be mountains of debt, and then you're going to be asking daddy. You know who daddy is, Biden. You're going to be asking daddy to make sure that you're taken care of so that you can become more successful. We're not asking daddy no more. We're going to take care of our own business. We're not dependent on the federal government. We're going to hold off on skeeting in that chick so you ain't got to pay child support. We're going to get started early. There's math that supports this. You can literally become a millionaire by contributing and maxing out your 401k. You don't even have to max out your 401k. By the time you retire, if you put in $5,000 a year, you ain't even got to put a quarter of what the max is into your 401k, which is less than $500 a month that automatically comes out of your paycheck. Okay? As soon as, listen, I don't know how many HR professionals that I talk to, when they say, Anton, there are a ton of people. So many people are out here, and when they go to retire, they don't realize that they missed out on an extra $1.5 million by contributing to their 401k. Most people get a job and they base it off of how much they can make per hour or how much they can make per year. We so caught up on what a high value person is or making six figures that we don't even know what we can keep. You don't even know that you can reduce your tax burden and go from a 22% to a 12% tax bracket just by maxing out your 401k, and you wasn't even going to make any more strides than you were in the first place. So you get an extra few $100s a month. Get started early. Stop waiting. Get rid of the debt. Spend the first few years of your career getting rid of the debt. Spend the next few years of your career 100% plowing every accessible dollar that you can get your hands on. Hustle. Get a second job. Start to contribute to the thing that's going to add to your future, and you will never have to worry about a recession or working ever again. I promise you. Let me go ahead and hit this T. Hanley right here. Let me tell you the second thing. I'm going to get to y'all super chat shortly. Second thing is, move that around a little bit. Second thing is, y'all got to excuse my light marker, but you get the point. Number 2. Broke friends. 5 habits that's keeping you broke. Hanging around broke friends. Listen, it has never been more true that if you hang around 5 broke friends, you will be the 6th. You are not the person that is going to be the savior. You are not going to get everybody out. First and foremost, I say this on a regular basis, and I'm going to say it again. Let me say this one more time. Got to get my mic right, because I need y'all to be able to hear me. You can't pour out of an empty cup. You cannot. You cannot pour out of an empty cup, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to tell you, you need to be selfish before you're selfless. You need to be selfless before you're You need to be selfish before you're selfless. You need to be selfish, meaning that you need to focus on... Listen, you know the luxury of being single? When I was coming up, right? And the thing that really made it difficult for me to really come out of this space was that I was doing it in the middle of the 2008 recession with a baby, a newborn, and a wife that wasn't working. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. I was man enough to do it, and I dedicated myself, and I worked 2 jobs, and I went to school and all of that. But it was very, very difficult. Very, very difficult being broke. And you got 2 people to carry too. It's much harder carrying them 2 people up because, again, I had made a promise, and it's, it was the thing that I had to do in order to be successful. When you come out of school or you first start working, I don't care if you don't go to college, you go get a trade, whatever, you don't get no debt. Don't wait to get started, but don't get no debt. And then you can't hang around broke people because broke people, they rub off on you. Their habits are bad. Have you ever started listening to something and you say, you know what, it don't really affect me. And then next thing you know, you saying bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on these nuts and suck the... That's what happens. I'm being real with you. What happens is broke beget broke. Broke beget broke. Most people don't understand it. It's the people that you hang around every single day that's costing you money. Broke friends and being influenced by other people that's not going in the direction that you're going in. As a matter of fact, not only is, we talking about the fundamentals, not only are broke people keeping you broke, but more importantly, you're not learning anything. You're not growing. One of the benefits of being in the Patreon and the people that hold these meetings, shout out to my dog Louise, shout out to Natasha, shout out to every one of the bag chasers. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. One of the benefits of hanging around other people is that you start to open your mind and be exposed to things that you weren't aware of. The thing that changed my fucking life is when I went to, my father sent me to private middle school before I went to public high school. And we had to wear a tie. We had to tuck in our clothes. We had to make sure our slacks was on. We could not wear jeans. You had to wear a collared shirt every single day. And you know what they talked about? Portfolios and investments. They never cared about who the lady... Did they listen to rap? Of course they did. Did they talk to women? Absolutely. But the conversations was based off of things that was actually adding values to their life. For the first time in my life, I heard people actually talking about not going to college, but which college they can get in based off of what they were trying to accomplish. Oh yeah, toss it to me, boo. We about to cook up now. Woo, look at, give me that football pass. Give me the football pass. Give me the football pass. Come on, girl. Oh, give me one more. Give me the blue one. I sure fumbled that one. Come, toss it, underhand. There you go. All right, we good now. Let's go. We're gonna go green. Woo! I'm cooking with fish grease now. Y'all ain't got nothing on me. Broke friends. So listen, get you a woman that will run out to the store and get you some markers because she know that the mission is clear. We got to cook up and teach the people. Go get you a chick that's going to just voluntarily behind the scenes run out to the store without you asking her to go get you some more dry erase markers. No more broke friends. We done. We done with broke friends. Listen, it don't mean that they bad people. I'm not saying don't be a saint. I'm not saying make sure that you condemn them. I'm not saying talk down on them. We love everybody. We love anybody that's going about doing it and getting it the right way. We love people that are doing the right thing. If you working hard and you being solidly middle class, you trying to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you trying to get out of poverty, we love you. We just don't want to hang out with you because we want to be in a room with people that's actually giving us the game, not keeping us in the same place that we were, and then we got to struggle because you're supposed to influence them. And so if you're influencing them, they need to be chasing you. You don't need to be chasing them. You don't need to be running up behind them. You're supposed to be letting your light shine. You ain't got to go in and preach to them. You ain't got to go in the hood and try to find them. You ain't got to do none of that. The only thing you got to do is be selfish, letting your light shine, letting God deal with them because God is to be revealed. He's not to be given to people. He's not to be pressed on people. God shows people the way, but they need the beacons of light to follow. You're going to be the beacon of light, not the person that's going to try to grab them and pull them away. All you got to do is make sure that the life raft is out there for when they're ready to grab it. When they done drowning, they're going to grab that life raft and then they're going to go to that beacon of light, which is you. Stop hanging around broke friends. Shout out to T. Chanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Listen, we doing fundamentals today. Number 3. First one was waiting to get rich or waiting to get started. Don't wait. Don't delay. The faster that you start, the more successful you become long term. Number 2, we don't hang with broke friends. 5 habits that's keeping you broke. Number 3, y'all want to know what number 3 is? It's not that complicated. You just not fucking doing it. You don't have any budget. You out here looking like a dusty because you get paid and you doing everything based off of your memory and what you think, and you don't have any real structure to your life. One of the things that I do from a coaching perspective, and the first call, despite the fact that I'm trying to figure out what people need, trying to understand them, where they come from, exactly what they're looking to accomplish, who they are as a person, do they have the right intentions? Because I'm always looking to understand people on coaching calls. The thing that I always make sure that people do every single time is that I force them to get their calendars together. And I'm going to tell you why. If anybody ever taps in with you, right, and you become successful, and they say, John, let's link up on Tuesday next week, and you just be like, all right, cool, let's link up. I know that you are broke and ain't busy. You are broke and you ain't busy. You know why? Because anybody that got that big of a hole in a calendar without having a check first, they broke and they ain't busy. I don't know one successful person in my life that does not absolutely positively manages a calendar. A calendar is literally like having a personal assistant in which most executives have always in history negotiated to be a part of their pay package because they understand how important managing their schedule it is. They know how much their time is worth. So let's bring it back, right? From a budget to a calendar, right? Structure is what we're talking about. The beautiful thing about a budget, and it's not so much about figuring out how much you can spend and things like that, is that it gives parameters and it gives you structure as to know exactly where you're supposed to go and when you're going. The reason why they don't just say, hey, go and get a degree, and they lay out all of the different classes and how many credit hours that you're supposed to have, and then they give you a syllabus and they tell you every bullet point and they outline it like a little baby, is because they're giving you milestones that you have to meet on a regular basis in order to achieve a larger goal. So the larger goal is A, right? The budget feeds into A because what happens is it allows you or it prevents you from going off track from what it is that you're supposed to do. So what happens is this, let's just say, for example, let's say person A, let me erase this. Okay. Let's say person A, person B, right? Person A got no budget. So what happens is they find themselves in a space where they say, you know what? I'm going to pay my main bills, which is my rent. They're going to make sure they pay their car note and the phone bill. For most people, those are the 3 most important things that they pay. They say, I'm going to pay this, and then what do I have left? I got they don't budget for the month, right? And so rent then becomes first. That's their first paycheck in the month because they get paid bi-weekly. Their car note is going to be second paycheck of the month because they can't afford to pay both, right? And then they're going to pay their phone bill. They may split that in half. That's how people with no budget operate. They own a no plan. And then they take whatever is left and then they go party, right? Because they don't have any objective as to how it is that they're supposed to spend their money. Person B operates completely different. Well, let me just divide this up like this. Person B operates completely different. Person B allocates monies for whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. So when you have a budget, right? And let's say, for example, your take home is $5,000 a month. Let's say your take home is $5,000 a month. When you have a budget, And I break this down even more extensively in the Patreon. When you have a budget, what happens is you allocate percentages to what you're supposed to be doing because you understand that you're not supposed to spend more than A in order to get to B. So I'll give you an example. Nobody is supposed to be spending more than 30 to 40% of their budget on housing. You're not supposed to spend more. So you don't go and say, you know what, I can afford it because of the payment. You're saying this is what the percentage is of my paycheck in order for me to be successful. I shouldn't be allocating more than 30% of this five. So I'm not supposed to, of my take home, not of my gross, my take home. So I want to stay under $1,500 a month. Let's do the math. 10% of 5,000 is 500. For those of you that pay tithes and offerings, you know how this works. 10% is 500 times 3 is 1,500, right? So now you saying that I got $1,500 and that's it. I don't care what they say. I don't care where you trying to look and what neighborhood you're supposed to be in. Listen, if I want to live in that neighborhood and they charging $3,000 a month and they doing 3 bedrooms, how about I go and get a roommate? Because I genuinely cannot afford it if I'm allocating a percentage of my budget over into this particular thing. You got fixed expenses. Let me erase this. Now look at the difference. Let me show you the difference. Person A versus person B. Okay? Person A is allocating it based off of payment. They saying rent, car, phone bill. Person B that actually has a budget based off of the percentages are saying fixed, variable, pay myself. And then they assign the percentages at least 10%. So fixed 30%, variable 20%, pay myself at least 10%. They looking at life completely different. And they're structuring their lives based off of really understanding where they can allocate their money. So this person, person B, is less likely to get a credit card because they're operating. They'll get a credit card, but they won't use the credit card. They'll put something small on it because they know that they're going to need to allocate their budget accordingly. Or even if they get a credit card, they're more likely to pay it off in full so that they're not getting charged the interest because that ain't a part of the budget. When you're saying fixed, it's the things that you can't control. You got to pay your car, you got to pay your house, you got to do this, you got to do that, so on and so forth. When you're talking about variable, and you can move these percentages up and down. We talk about it in the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. When you're talking about variable, it's the things that's going to change on a monthly basis. Food, gas, depending on what your circumstances are. This don't change. Actually, this is supposed to be number one. You always pay yourself first. You always pay yourself first. Again, look at the differences between the two different people. And I've realized that people are more visual, so sometimes I got to go to the board. Don't worry, I got a whole setup, office, everything that's being built to where this is going to be absolutely dynamic, right? This is just a test run. But person A is basing things based off of how much the payment is. Person B is allocating their budget, which means that they'll be a lot more responsible based off of how they set their budget up. Percentages. It's not just saying, okay, well, this is how much I pay. This is how much my car note is. This is how much my rent is. No, they're saying that, listen, I have a 30% budget for whatever it is my housing is going to be. And if I can reduce that, I can really make some inroads as far as what it is that we're doing. I can really pay some stuff off. I can really get to the bag. I can really start allocating money towards, and I still do this today. My budget, my personal budget, is based off of percentages. And then I play around with the percentages based off of whatever my variable costs are, whatever it is that I want to pay myself. And when I tell you, and I say, hey, listen, my personal expenses is less than $1,000 a month. And I'm not going to take y'all to the meat. We still on baby food. We still on Similac. I say my personal expenses is less than $1,000 a month, right? If my personal expenses is less than $1,000 a month, how much can I pay myself? And then I say I pay myself X, because paying yourself is for everybody else getting rid of the debt, making sure you're investing in whatever your 401k is, making sure you make your personal investments. It can go into real estate. This number goes up. The 10% goes to 15, 20, 30, as long as you can control your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, and then the numbers, the percentage, the same budget applies no matter how much money you make. So you don't have to worry about raising your lifestyle. What you're more concerned about is playing with the numbers and higher or lower percentages depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish and solve. Remember, when we were breaking this down in the beginning, we were talking specifically about having a moment in time that you're supposed to be at a certain place at a certain time. Meaning, whatever it is that you're breaking down has to feed up into the bigger picture. So if you want to be rich and you want to drive a Porsche and you want to live in this particular place or whatever, and you want to have your investments pay for your lifestyle, you have to have this big picture, and then you break it down into smaller pieces, which is milestone moments, and say, okay, I want to be here before I get to this age. And I want to be here based off of where I get to this age. And I need to talk to my Fidelity spokesperson. I can do it for free. I do it every 6 months to reallocate what it is that I'm doing in order to stay on track to buying a fucking Pistons for me. But for you, it can be anything. It could be being debt free. It could be making sure that you get to a certain point. It could be making sure that you want to get your kids' college fund paid off. You want to control the narrative, but you can't see what you don't know if you don't have a budget that you can feed into. And so most people are just on a no plan. They're doing things based off of their payment, which is one of the reasons why it's so easy for you to fall into the 30-year trap and get a bigger house than you need, because you don't know what it is that you're really giving away, which is the percentages, the principal versus the interest that you give into the servicer of the loan. They taking a majority of it and you just happy to live there and pretend like it's yours when you don't really understand how money works. You have to have a budget. You have to have a budget, which leads me into point number 4. We cooking today. We teaching today. I'm telling you, I'm going to make sure that all of y'all get this work. I'm going to make sure that you get up to the space that you're supposed to get up to in order to really be successful. Where's my, here it is. No, I got it. 5 habits keeping you broke. Number 4. I should have wrote this in red, but it's okay. 5 habits that's keeping you broke. We on number 4. Matter of fact, let's do a summary really quickly. For those of you that just joined and you don't want to replay it, because I know that y'all lazy and you ain't gonna do what you're supposed to do. Number 1, 2, and 3. Okay? What was number 1? Let me test y'all out. What was number 1? Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. What was number 1? What was number 1? I'm looking at y'all in the chat. Okay. Let me use my blue one. Got the wrong marker out. We're going to use one word. Waiting. Waiting to get started. Number 2. Broke friends. We don't want to surround ourselves with people that's not adding value to our lives. It's a time for us to be selfish. We can't pour out of an empty cup. When our cup run over, we're going to make sure that everybody else is taken care of, okay? But in the meantime, it's an opportunity for you to focus on becoming the best version of you so that you can be the best version of us. Being around broke friends don't mean that they bad. It just means that we're trying to do 2 different things. We ain't got time to be playing games. We ain't got time to be busting down holes. We got time to be getting to this bag and making sure that we become successful. Broke friends is number 2. Number 3. What's number 3? No budget. All right. We're on number 4. Number 4. Fourth biggest habit that's keeping you broke. Let's do this. Credit. Oh, they didn't want to talk about credit. I know that y'all don't want to talk about credit because it's going to sting. It's going to go against every single thing, that every talking point of every person that thought that they knew anything about money. It's going to go against it. But I'm not here to tell you what makes you comfortable. I'm here to tell you the truth. Credit, ladies and gentlemen, is keeping you broke. Let me tell you the beauty of credit, right? And how it keeps you broke. Credit, for those of you that are not familiar with Anton from AntonDaniels.com, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, and then we're going to run these numbers up. Link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Credit is literally the gamification of marketing in order for you to spend more than you have to for the things that you don't need. It's something that's made up by banks to get you to pay more in interest and fees in the name of ownership. That's the skinny of it. That's the whole summary behind credit. You think that credit is there to help you build wealth. I'm telling you that credit is there to get you to spend more. Think about credit cards and think about the deceptive marketing behind it. Why do you think that they are giving away points and trips and flights and everything else in order to get you to sign up? You think that they're doing that because they just like you? They don't. They're doing it because they understand that you're going to think that you have more leverage and leeway, because it's just like social media. When people jump on social media and they post a picture, they're more concerned with views and likes than they are about what it is that they're trying to convey. They don't know how to market themselves successfully because they're so focused on getting that dopamine, right? It's deceptive marketing, and it entices you to continue to scroll and continue to see what other people is doing, and then re-promote your stuff, and you're going to put it on your story, and you're going to put it on your reel, and you're going to put it on Facebook, and you're going to put it on TikTok. And then you're going to make sure that, because you want the dopamine, you ain't making no fucking money. You ain't getting no bags from it. You're not doing nothing but being loud and messy and preventing yourself from being able to get your next job, because your next employer is going to look at your social media to find out exactly who you really are. That's what I do. Instead of looking at your resume and letting you come in here and sell me on a narrative that's false. Credit is similar, right? Because it's the gamification in order to get you to spend more than you usually would. So I'll give you an example. If you could live in your mama's basement for the next 5 to 6 years and save up enough money to be able to buy a house cash, would you do it? Let's talk about it. If you can save up enough money, if you could save up enough money, let's move this over here. I'm a one-man show over here, a one-man production team. If you could live with your parents, let me tell you what my parents used to do. My parents seen my brother, because I got 2 older brothers, right? I'm the middle child. I'm middle child like J. Cole. And my parents seen my brothers, and they are 1 year apart, my oldest 2 brothers, 6 and 7 years older than me. And they were living together, and they was renting out a place together, and then they went and lived with a relative that was charging them even more rent when they was living all together, and one of them was living in the basement and all of this other type of stuff, right? And what happened was, my parents recognized what they were doing, and they said, y'all got it all wrong. And this is in their early 20s. They said, listen, come live in this house with us. We're going to live in this small ass house. I'm telling you what my real life is, and why it was so easy for me to make the smart decisions from a financial perspective once I got older, because I was still in high school. They said, come live in this small ass house with us. And at first my brothers balked, and they said, man, we ain't trying to do that. Our friends and, you know what I'm saying, lifestyle, and we out here, we got wives and stuff like that. We got a kid on the way, and they was real tough. Let me move this. We don't need this right now. They was real tough. My brothers, my 2 oldest brothers, I'm in high school looking at them in their 20s, and my parents said, hey, Come live with us. Stack up for the next few years, and then y'all can buy y'all cribs cash. And they stayed out there for a couple more months, and they suffered a little more, and they started to, my parents didn't force them. They gave them the option. And so what happened was, my brother said, you know what? We don't mind living in this small ass house with the rest of y'all. I'm cool. We gonna get it then. They came in and they moved in. They was listen, my nephews, the reason why they love me so much is because them motherfuckers was sleeping in my bed. They was laying in my bed next to me. I would get off school like, what is this little baby in my bed for? We was just all in there together. We was straight up like some Mexicans. We didn't care about what, this is when the economy was good. Everything was phenomenal and awesome. They stayed in that house for an extended period of time, and then they wind up purchasing their own homes with cash. That means that they are not paying the interest that you are paying in order to do what you want to do. They never used credit. They stacked up and they bought. And then they used the appreciation of that house when they bought that, and then they bought a bigger house, and they stayed living together. My brothers just stopped living together probably, they bought a house together. They combined their resources. They just stopped living together probably within the last, 3 years? I'm 40. That means my brothers are 40 and 46. They so flush with fucking money. My brothers is balling. The same brother that got me my initial job at the steel mill is one of the brothers that I'm talking about. They got out of the whole rat race of credit. And I'm not saying that credit is bad and you can use it to be successful. So understand what I'm saying. I'm saying habits that are keeping broke people broke. I'm not talking about rich people understanding the language of money. Again, remember, we starting with baby steps. We breaking this all the way down so that we get all of our people from at the bottom. We want to get them up. We want to continue to push you up so you can get to the point where we can really start leveraging this information and talk the same way that we talk in the behind the scenes in order to make sure that we're making the best decision possible. I want, when you go into this build the business in the Patreon, when you jump into building the business Patreon and you start to go through what we're talking about, you don't have to get up to speed. You're already there. Okay? And so my brothers, they literally stayed in a house together, right? We all was in there like Mexicans. When they moved out, they paid cash. When they moved out again, they stayed together. They combined their resources. They paid cash. And they balling. When I say that my family has the blueprint on what it's like to be successful, what it's like to be successfully married also, I'm telling you, these are stories I never told you before because you ain't part of the bag chasers. Link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. But let's continue. Let's continue, okay? So credit. Credit is keeping you broke. And usually what people do is they try to figure out affordability. Forget the bad drawing. I had a brain fart as far as how to spell affordability. Let me rewrite that so y'all ain't gonna be missing a whole message just because you're worried about whether or not Anton is a C student. Let me write it in blue. Maybe I can do it a little different. Affordability. I know how to fucking spell. Don't sit here and wait acting like I don't know how to spell out here in these streets. Affordability. Okay? When people use credit, it was the green marker. That's what it was. When people use credit, they look at things based off how much they can afford. You know why it's so easy? You know why small car lots are so easily able to sell you on getting into this Hellcat, this Durango, this Charger, this Challenger? One of the reasons why they're so easily able to do that is because they got you taking out 60, 72, and 84-month loans. I've seen a 96-month loan. And you paying egregious payments on it. And you upside down in the payment because you're so focused on credit, which then leads to affordability. And then you worried about the payment. The payment. I broke it down to y'all yesterday. And I had somebody, he said, Anton, if I switch over if I don't take the 30 and I take the 15-year instead, I'm only paying a little more than $300 a month. I can literally save myself about $80,000 total in interest if I do it for a 15 instead of a 30, and it ain't even gonna change that much as far as what my lifestyle is. Again, we talking about 5 habits that keep you broke. 5 money habits that keep you broke. Credit. Is Anton saying that credit is wrong? No. The whole financial system is based off of credit. And I'm also giving y'all insight into understanding who the banker is. Whole another live stream. But I'm helping you to understand that depending on credit, instead of making informed decisions based off of the first 3 things that we're talking about, is one of the things that's going to keep you broke. People are more focused. And this is how I know you fucking broke. People are more focused on getting their credit score up than getting their investment portfolio debt down and then their assets up. People are more focused on getting their credit score up, a made up make-believe number, than they are about making sure that they increase their assets and reduce their liabilities, which is your debt. Go around in any room where people have a net worth of $1 million or more, and they will tell you that they largely did not depend on credit in order to get the foundation of what they were started. Most people use credit cards in order to fund their lifestyle. They use credit cards in order to start their business. They will pay 20% interest on a credit card in order to get a small business funded, not even understanding that you are literally working against yourself and your margins are so small that you are never going to be able to be profitable as long as you are in debt to whatever company it is that you got that credit taken out on. Small business loans are not supposed to be meant to get businesses started. It's supposed to proof out a concept or an idea that somebody is already profitable in order to expand the business much faster so they can make more profitability, which then leads to a bigger valuation and greater assets. That's what credit is supposed to be used for. One example of it. It's not meant to you to go out and go Christmas shopping. It's not supposed to be after and Klarna Pay and then you go out here and get fees. You know what the most egregious form of credit is and you don't even know it? You going to get a payday loan. Credit. Every form of credit, when you are broke, is keeping you broke. If you are more concerned with your credit score than getting out of debt or making sure that you accumulate assets that appreciate over time, you are broke. I seen it. I see it every single day. Let's go to point number 5. So we're going to go ahead and move this over to point number 4. Where my blue? Number 1, waiting to get started. Number 2, hanging around broke friends. You're going to be the 6th one out of the 5. Number 3, you're not even operating on a budget. If you did not get these things in depth and you just now walking in, you need to replay this video and see how I broke this down. Don't sit here and just look at the talking point. Listen to the context that I give behind it so you can get the understanding on why you need to do things differently. And then you can sit there and explain it to your girlfriend or your wife and your kids, and you can say, hey, look how smart I am. And you can even, listen, I'm giving you permission to pass on my talking points as your own. You can walk in the house and say, honey, listen, these are the 5 habits keeping us broke. She gonna say, you so smart. I can't wait to get on your program. I see you leveling up. I see you becoming the man I thought I was supposed to marry. And you're gonna be like, yeah. And then get your ass a coaching call right after that, okay? Get you a coaching call. So you ain't just standing on that and then she gonna watch my video because it's gonna pop up in her algorithm and she gonna be like, I thought you was smart. Number 5. Mentorship. Mentorship. Everybody think they know, but you have no clue on what you don't know. I got my hands inside of my Versace. I got my hands inside of my Versace pockets right here. Mentorship. I have had mentors in my life and still till today, since I had to be at least 15, 14 years old. Today, I have mentors that are literally trending towards being billionaires within the next 10 years. And I will always have mentors because there are people that I need to run ideas by. And when I say mentorship, I'm talking extensively about the entire network of people that you lean on in order to get insight and information on how you need to do things differently. But we specifically talking about 5 habits that keep you broke. Do you know today I still tap in and I call my Fidelity accountant advisors? Not that I think that they know what the fuck they talking about, but I want to know exactly what they saying. I want them to do the math and figure out if my projections are the same as what the app is saying. Do you know that I'm still, look at my svelte figure, look at me from the side. Ooh, Ton is looking sexy out here in these streets. Look at my svelte figure. Oh man. Don't I look good? I'm sorry, I don't want to get derailed. Mentorship. Whenever, you know what? The first big contract that I got, both from a business perspective and in corporate America, I sent it over to one of my mentors. He looked at it and he said, Anton, you're probably losing out on about $80,000. I said, how? He says, listen, look how much money you getting up front. What's the projections of the company? What do you think about it? How are they doing things? Do you think equity makes the most sense? You need to ask for a bigger percentage here. And you don't want the upfront money. You want it to be tied to your performance because you've already been performing in a company, and this is what they're offering you, and this is what's standard in the industry. This is what's standard in the industry. Me having mentorship actually netted me an additional $100,000 in the first year that I signed that contract. Now, why would I shoot myself in the foot and say, well, I don't want anybody to pour into me because I already know everything. And why would I ever even pay somebody else to talk to me? Because that's a waste of money. But anybody that understands they salt or understand what they're truly worth and what they're leaving on the table and what value they can add will tell you mentorship could quite possibly be one of the best investments in your life. So much so, you can get mentorship for free. Do you know that there are people that have contacted me, single mothers? No, Anton ain't trying to be no stepdaddy. There are single mothers that recognize that a man needs to raise a man. And they have said, Anton, I will give you my child as tribute. But please, please give him the things that he don't have. There is things that I cannot teach him because I don't know it from a financial perspective. There is things that he needs to suffer from, but I'm too nurturing and it's hard for me to let him go. Some of y'all in the chat right now is, Anton, I need you to meet my son. As a matter of fact, one of my great friends and people that I've coached probably over the last 6 months, and she is absolutely beautiful and awesome, brought her son to the meetup in NYC. Y'all know, and you know I ain't lying. She called me, she said, Anton, after him meeting you and sitting there up under you and talking to you at your NYC meetup and you saying that I can bring my son, his whole disposition is different. His whole mindset is different. He's looking at his friends differently and saying, yo, am I moving in the way that I'm supposed to move in? I'm telling you, on the smallest scale and on the highest scale, people that know. Mentorship is quite possibly one of the biggest reasons why you are sitting out here broke, because you can't hear nothing from nobody that know more than you because you already fucking know everything, but you still broke. It reminds me of people that sit there and argue with me about $40,000. Reminds me of people that sit there and argue with me about $40,000. And they will argue me down. And they will say, Anton, $40,000 is enough to be able to live. And I just sit there and I let them slop around and they pig slop and then they mud. And I'm over here literally getting phone calls saying, Anton, your Porsche's ready. Your Porsche's ready. And they will argue me down. I've been through every single phase. I've been broke. I've gotten money. I've lost money. Got it back again. Solidly middle class. learned the lessons, took the headaches, took the hits, took the knots, dealt with the IRS, been audited, passed with flying colors, no problems, no troubles, no issues. I done seen it on every side of the coin. I got stories for days that y'all not even familiar with. But I will have people sit here and argue me down that don't even make $40,000 a year about how I'm wrong about what the numbers are when it comes to being able to do things successfully and in life. Probably forgot more than they ever learned. Far away, y'all. I'm sorry. Let me switch it out. I'm sorry. Still getting used to the new setup. I'm better now. There you go. There you go. I have people. No, I got two different mics. I got a mic over there. I got a mic over here. I just didn't switch the mic. I'm here. I'm here. I have people that will literally argue me down. I have no clue whatsoever on what it takes in order to be successful. No, I got a sound guy. I am the sound guy. I'm gonna hire some people to give me some inside information on how to move a little bit differently when it comes to sound. And then I'm gonna implement it myself, and then I'm gonna teach the people. I got people that will literally argue me down. Argue me down on what it takes to be successful. But my grandparents did it this way. They don't even know how to calculate how inflation actually makes that number much different. And your parents was probably making the equivalent of over $100,000 a year when you account for inflation and the cost of doing business and services in 2022. They will argue me down. They will sit there and have Anton fighting me, hitting me, beating me up. And then I see my little people in there. I see my tribe. I see my gang, and they in the chat, and they like, y'all don't know what the fuck y'all missing. Y'all just be sitting there looking at them like Dusties, and they over there slopping around in the mud. Okay, you do what you do. You do what you do. Listen, I would like for y'all to get the likes up. I know sometimes y'all forget to hit the like button when y'all come in here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, and then we rocking out. B, if you haven't already, go ahead and join the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. This channel will continue to evolve. I'm going to continue to mine through and reevaluate what my life lessons are and what I did the day before in order to ensure that I'm giving y'all the most value possible. It's going to be interactive screens, boards. It's going to be some stuff over the next month or so. I'm putting together even more, even greater. I'm building a whole studio just so I can make sure that I'm teaching you. Bag Chasers is going to get it first. I'm debuting everything with them first. But just to make sure that I'm teaching you guys how to level up. And I don't want not one person to be left behind, which is why I went right back to the beginning. And then we're going to come right on through and we're going to sweep over and take over the whole nation because you are better than your lifestyle. You are better than your friends. You are better than your circumstances. You are better than your parents. You are better than your wife and your child that is trying to hold you back. I need you to stand down as a man and make sure that you're doing the thing that is best for them because even if they come kicking and screaming, they will appreciate you in the end. Be the man that you're supposed to be. Do the things that very few people do because the true measure of a man is doing the things that nobody want to do when nobody wants to do it. And that's the difference because you have to do something that you never did before in order to do something or get somewhere that you need to go. It's the truth. I love you. I appreciate you. I got a Porsche to go pick up. All right. I love y'all. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. Make sure you rewatch this. I don't care how far you are in your journey. I don't care how successful you are. Rewatch this screen. And I'm sorry. I'm going to get to the super chats tomorrow. I appreciate all of the super chats. I wasn't in front of the screen, but I do. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the platform. Y'all said that y'all got a Bag Chasers meeting on the weekend from the Discord, and it get up there. It's dope. Make sure y'all join. I love y'all. Holla at me. Peace.